First of all, thank you for your overwhelming responses. Really, we were like, no, overwhelmed with their responses. It was more than 500. We have stopped it, but we were able to allow only the faculties mainly for this program. And thank you for your response again. So, on behalf of CS in Linguistics, Faculty of Indian Languages, Anomaly University, as a coordinator, once again, I would like you to welcome you all for this 5 days faculty development program on linguistic technicalities for speech language pathologists. So today, why we are gathered here? That is the important thing. It is mainly as we have given in our objectives in the brochure. It is to make you to understand the linguistic nuances for all those who are working on language acquisition, development, and disorders. But not only that, many teachers from arts faculties are here. They are very eager to listen to this. Yes, of course, for you all, it will be very much useful as you can take this to your classroom to see the language development or any issues in your classroom situation. And you can uh, develop your own teaching methodologies according to that. It is not only for speech language pathologists. Every human has to know what are the structures of language in a scientific way. That is what we are going to talk for the 5 days. And each session will be handled by different resource persons. Why we are very interested in this topic is because now, in recent years, some remarkable growth has taken place in our knowledge, and now we are seeking for the remedies to manage the language and speech disorders in children as well as in adults. And not only that, now the medical disciplines, especially the speech language pathologists and even occupational therapists, have been working a lot for past 2 decades to identify and assess to remediate these problems and also to remediate these problems. It's an interdisciplinary research. So linguistics is based for speech and language disorders. Whenever I speak to speech language pathologist, I'll be talking about the need for knowing linguistics from a linguist. Yes, that is my main aim to propose this program. So when we are talking about impairments, there will be a problem in language comprehension, speech, or reading. So it is speech and language issues which is hindering or devastating the effects on the ability for the individual to function in this modern society. So for that, linguistics is going to serve or give the theories, is going to provide you a way to utilize that in your clinical practice. So today, uh, Dr. P. Kumaresan, Associate Professor of CS and Linguistics at Namala University, will be handling phonetics, phonology, and its clinical effects, usages, utility. Uh, and now I would like to hand over the session to our presenter, our resource person. Before that, there is a humble request to the participants. Please don't switch on the present now button. It is not for you. That will interrupt the presenter, and also the questions can be posed on the chat box. So today there will be only the presentation. The discussions will be taken to the 5th day. Okay? So we will be giving a time for you to discuss about that, and we will be resolving the issues. Please uh, post your questions as queries in the chat box. And once again, I welcome you all and handing over the session to our today's resource person, Dr. P. Kumaresan. Sir, Kumaresan sir, now you can take up the program.
ஆ இப்போ ஓகே ஓகே எடுத்துட்டேம்மா. இல்லை இப்போ எடுத்துட்டேன். இப்போ பாருங்கள், இப்போ கேட்குதா பாருங்கள். ஹலோ ஹலோ, இன்னும் வரல. ஆ hello, is it audible? Okay. So, okay, now the session will be started. Myself, Dr. P. Kumaresan, Associate Professor of Linguistics. Welcome to all the participants. Before going to the subject discussion, we must know briefly about the linguistics. Let us move to the subject. This is for the introductory, only for the oral. After the introduction part, we will discuss about the PPT. Okay. First of all, why linguistics? As you are a speech language pathologist, myself is a linguistic people, but you have the certain knowledge about the linguistics. So you must learn for the subject for linguistics. If you are considering becoming a linguistics knowledge, you probably know something about the field of linguistics already. However, you may find it hard to answer people who ask you what exactly is linguistics and what does a linguist do. They might assume that it means to speak a lot of languages, and they may be right. You may, in fact, be a polyglot. Polyglot is nothing but that means one who knows for the more languages only for the comparative purpose, not for the not much about the language. That is person is called as a quality life. But while many linguists do speak multiple languages, or at least know a fair bit about multiple languages, the study of linguistics means much more than this. Linguistics is scientific study of language. Many topics fall under the umbrella. At the heart of the linguistics is an understanding of the conscious knowledge that humans have about the language. And second, how children acquire language. Third one is the structure of language in general and of particular languages. How languages vary, and finally, how languages influence the way in which we interact with each other and think about the world. And another question, linguistics is a science, it is a beyond doubt for all the people. Now let us explain what linguistics is a science of linguistics investigate how people acquire their knowledge about the language, how this knowledge interacts with other cognitive processes, how it varies across the spheres and geographic regions, and how to model this knowledge computationally. The study how to represent the structure of the various aspects of language, such as sounds or meaning, and how to account for different linguistic patterns theoretically, and how the different components of language interact with each other. Linguistics develop and test scientific hypotheses. Many linguists appeal to statistical analysis, mathematics, and logical formalism to account for the patterns they observe. And another question, what are the major in linguistics? It is another questionable. Linguistics is the major that gives you insight into one of the most intriguing aspect of human language and behavior. Majoring in linguistics means that you will learn about many aspects of human language, including sounds, that is phonetics and phonology, and second, words, that is study of morphology, and sentences, study is called syntax, and finally meaning, that is called as semantics. So it can involve looking at how languages change over time, that is historical linguistics, and how language varies from situation to situation and group to group and place to place. That is
No,
sociolinguistics, yes, and dialectology. So, how people use language in context, that is pragmatic discourse analysis. How to model aspects of language, that is computational linguistics, and how people acquire or learn language, that is language acquisition, and how people process of language, that is psycholinguistics and experimental linguistics. Okay. And then another, this is for your opinion. Linguistics knowledge is needed to speech language pathologist. So one who the major in linguistics acquire valuable intellectual skills such as analytical reasoning, critical thinking, argumentation, and clarity of expression. This means making insightful observations, formulating clear, testable hypotheses, generating predictions, making arguments and drawing conclusions, and communicating findings to a wider community. So, linguistics major are therefore equipped for variety of people. இல்ல இல்ல அது வந்து இல்ல 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 இந்த இன்ட்ரடக்ஷனுக்கு பிறகு தான் அது ஸ்லைடு ஓபன் பண்ணும். சொல்லிட்டேன். இந்த இன்ட்ரடக்ஷன் முடிச்சோடனே ஸ்லைடு எடுத்து பண்ணுங்க. ஹலோ ஹலோ அப்படியா? ஓகே ஓகே சரி. சொல்லுங்க சார். அதான் முதல்ல தான் வரேன். அதில் அந்த இதுதான் வருது, ஏன்னு வந்திருக்கு. அந்த ப்ரெசன்ட் இது வரலையே. முதல்ல இருந்து வருவாங்க.
Sorry for the participants. Sorry, there is a network issue with the resource person. He is coming again into the classroom. I request you all to be patient.
ஓகே. ஓகே, அதாவது அந்த ஸ்லைடு வந்து இன்ட்ரடக்ஷன் போயிட்டு இருந்தேன் ஒரு 3 பக்கம். அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் ஸ்லைடு வரும்னு சொன்னேன், சொல்லிட்டு தான் ஆரம்பிச்சேன். ஆமாம்மா, நீ அதை பற்றி அதை பார்த்தா நீ போல நினச்சிங்களா? இல்லை இல்லை, நான் வந்து ஒரு இல்லை நான் இன்ட்ரடக்ஷன் கொடுத்துட்டு தான் அது போகிறேன்னு சொல்லியிருந்தேன், சொல்லிட்டு தான் ஆரம்பித்தேன். அப்போ இல்லை 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 ஓகே, இந்த இன்ட்ரடக்ஷன் முடிஞ்சோடனே மாறிடுன்றதை நினச்சிங்க. Okay, participant, I earlier mentioned about the introduction part is only for the oral presentation. and next day, within the few seconds, the PPT will be started. You don't bother about. Okay. I come to the conclude for the introductory part. There are two questions about the regarding for the speech language pathologies. So, is linguistic knowledge is need for the speech language pathology. One who the major in linguistics acquire valuable intellectual skills such as analytical reasoning, critical thinking, argumentation, and clarity of expression. So this means making insightful observations, formulating clear, testable hypotheses, generating predictions, making arguments, and drawing conclusions, and communicating findings to a wider community. That linguistics majors are therefore well equipped for the variety of people like speech pathologists, clinical linguists, and other professional backgrounds and careers. Some may require additional training or skills, but not all do. And the final of the introduction, it is a curious about the linguistics. Yeah, on introductory level, linguistic study considers a minor or take a look at the introductory textbook or course materials. And introductory and advanced linguistics courses often satisfy the distribution requirements for other majors. Talk to as faculty members in linguistics department of anomaly universities are usually quite happy to chart with the perspective and answer the questions about the today's topic and the field. After the completion of all the sessions, your queries and doubts and clarification and your feedback will be considered the all the series of the lectures. And then now we will let us move on to the PowerPoint presentation. Then only we are moving to the subject matter. Okay. So the first we discuss about the definition of linguistics. Okay. So actually, linguistics, what is meant by the linguistics? Why we study about the linguistics? That is the first question. So linguistics is the scientific study of language as an academic discipline. The development of this subject has been recent and rapid, having become a particularly widely known and taught in 1960s. So this time arising a large out of the work of the American linguist Chomsky and his associates. A major distinction introduced by Ferdinand de Saussure, that he is Swiss linguist, in between the synchronic and the diachronic linguistics. What is actually synchronic and diachronic? So synchronic means languages are studied at a theoretical point in time. One describes a state of the language disregarding whether changes might be taking place is called synchronic linguistics. And diachronic means the languages are studied from the point of view of their historical development. The historical development means that is the old age to the modern age, what are the changes is possible in a particular language. And linguistic science. In recent years, the term linguistic sciences has come to be used by many as a single label for both linguistics and phonetics. The latter being seen here as strictly pre-language linguistics. So there are many who do not see the divide between linguistics and phonetics. Being as a great at this level suggests they would be quite happy to characterize the subject as linguistic science. Linguistics is still the preferred name. Why we call upon the linguistic science? Because the science study is the somewhat different between the language. For example, if you want to study about the language is based upon the only the hypothetical information or the assumption may be possible in the language study. But the scientific study is the only for the proven method. You must prove or evidence will be given to a particular topic. So that is called as the, so that's why the linguistics also call upon the linguistic science study. And then branches of linguistics. There are so many branches are there. These are the under the two category. One is for the theoretical, another one is for the applied linguistics. Theoretical linguistics like phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, sociolinguistics, etc. So these are the major, and also these are the studies for the theoretical point of view. The another classification is the applied linguistics. Field like as a bilingualism or multilingualism, and the computer mediated education and second language acquisition, lexicography, clinical linguistics, psycholinguistics, neurolinguistics, language teaching methods, translation, biolinguistics, and so many fields are available in the category of applied linguistics. And another, what is mean by the linguistic? There is another definition. The difference between, you must understand for the what is mean by linguistics and the linguistic. The linguistic term which has to be used with care because it is ambiguity. That is most important. Ambiguity is the term referring to a word or a sentence which expresses more than one meaning is found in linguistics. And the adjective from the language, as in such phrases as linguistic philosophy and linguistic skill, and finally linguistic minority. The third is the adjective from linguistics, where it refers to an approach characterized by the scientific attributes of that subject, as in linguistic analogy. Actually, before they mention about the linguistic philosophy, that means the role of language in relation to the understanding and elucidation of philosophical concepts. And the linguistic analysis means and the linguistic features, how it will be applicable for in the.
Sir, sir, Kumaresan sir, உங்க ஆடியோ கேட்கல. உங்க ஆடியோ கேட்கல, உங்க ஸ்லைடும் வரல சார்.
Sir, hello, madam. He will come back, madam. That's right. Sorry for the inconvenience.
ஹலோ ஹலோ
Sir,
ஹலோ, இப்போ
now
கேட்குதுங்களா?
audible, sir. Yes, now audible, sir.
ஓகே. லலிதா மேடம் கேட்குதுங்களா?
Sir, கேக்குது. Was able to
கேட்குதா?
hear you.
இப்போ இப்போ பர்சன் பண்ணது வரைக்கும் கேட்கலையா? ஆடியோ இல்லையா அப்படியே?
நடுவுல கொஞ்சம் ஆடியோ இல்ல சார்.
அப்போ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்லைடுலாம் வந்துச்சா?
அது வந்தது.
சரி. இப்போ
செகண்ட்
நான்
ஸ்லைடு
மறுபடியும்
வந்தது.
செகண்ட்
அதுக்கு பிறகு வரல.
நான் செகண்ட்லேருந்து இப்போ கண்டினியூ பண்ணுறேன்.
ஓகே சார்.
கேட்குதா?
கேட்குது சார்.
நான் இருங்க, இப்போ ஸ்லைடு போயிட்டு ஒரு வாட்டி செக் பண்ணிவிட்டு அப்புறம் கட் பண்ணிங்க நீங்கள்.
ஓகே சார்.
Newly system was
ஓகேவா விஸ்வா? விஸ்வா?
Sir, the presenter's face is not fully visible, sir.
Now it is? Now?
Partly visible only. Partly.
Are you using mobile or system? Hello?
Hello, participant.
Sir, this is due to the poor internet connectivity, sir. Sorry for the inconvenience.
No, Lalita madam.
Sir, it's fully viewed, sir. No issue.
Lalita madam.
Please.
உங்களுக்கு ஃபுல் ஸ்கிரீன் தெரியுதா லலிதா மேடம்?
இல்ல, உங்களோட ஃபேஸ் கொஞ்சம் தான் தெரிஞ்சது.
இல்ல இப்போ
உங்களோட பிபிடி இன்னும் வரலையே.
புரியல.
PPT, we are not able to see your PPT. Yeah.
I'm sorry to disturb you, sir. PPT is visible.
PPT is
Visible, sir. Fully visible.
We can see, sir. Visible. Please carry on, sir.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Shall I start, ma?
Yeah, you can see, please, sir.
Hello.
Sir, I humbly request the participant not to use this present now button.
Hello.
Sir, your PPT is visible, fully visible, no issues. You carry on, sir.
Okay. Lalita madam.
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
How many slides I left? 1 or 2?
Sorry, in between I have not able to see that.
Once again, I am beginning from the first slide, okay?
No need, sir. You can continue from that. No problem.
This way is already explained, sir. No issues.
Okay.
It is fourth slide. Some of the participants are saying it's fourth slide.
Okay.
This way also you explained, sir.
Okay, shall I start?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now we discuss about the definition of linguistic. So the scientific study of language as an academic discipline, the development of this subject has been recent and rapid, having become particularly in just a minute. So definition of linguistic, a term which has to be used with care because its ambiguity. So already discuss about the ambiguity means I give the meaning. That means a term referring to a word or a sentence which express more than one meaning is found in linguistics. That is called ambiguity. And second point, the adjective from language, as in such phrases as a linguistic philosophy. What is actually the term philosophy refers the role of language in relation to the understanding and elicitation of philosophical concept, and then linguistic skills like what are the linguistic features and the linguistic minority is called the linguistic definition. And then the adjective from linguistic, where it refers to an approach characterized by the scientific attributes of that subject, as in linguistic analysis. And another slide we will discuss about the term is the lingua franca. This is most commonly using the technical term for use for the linguist. The term used especially the social linguistics and often in everyday speech to refer to an auxiliary language. I already mentioned about there is one which has the adopted by the different speech communities for purpose of communication, trade, education, etc. So it being the native language of none of them. So to use the routine communication to take the place between group of people who speak different native languages. So the English is most common lingua franca followed by French, but other languages are also widely used. And linguist, who is the linguist? That is the question. For example, if you are a specialist in the speech language pathologist, you are called upon the speech language pathologist. If the one who in the field for the scientific events or invented for any one of the scientific objective, the person is called a scientist. That is a person. Those who are exposed at the field is called the name. But linguistics somewhat different. So someone is who is the student or practitioner of the subject of linguistics is linguist. It means a normal term student or practitioner of the subject. And the linguistician is often cited for this purpose, but it is never used by the professional linguist about himself. So someone proficient in several languages is called linguist. And another definition of language. So as the people we know, there are more of meaning is knows for the language. But everyday use of this term involves several different senses, which involves linguistics is careful to distinguish. At its most specific level, it may refer to the concrete act of speaking in a given situation. So the notion of parole or performance. Actually, the term parole means to introduced by the Swiss linguist Fernand de Saussure to distinguish one of the senses of the word language. It refers to the concrete utterances produced by individual speakers in actual situation. That is called as a parole or performance. And then a language can be split into different layers, each layer representing a particular level. The language is total sum of these layers put together. The different layers can be classified broadly into phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics. The smallest unit in language is phone, and the largest unit is sentence. Phone means the smallest, prescribe the discrete segment of sound in a stream of speech. And another one, the unit is the sentence, you know that very well. And then components of languages. Every language has a certain components. That is external component, internal component, and content component. The external component describes the expression or phonetics, and it will be converted into phonology, and this study is detailed for the sound structure of a particular language. So this study is called the phonology, and it is the first step for the expression of phonetics. It is for the component of converted into grammar, and again the grammar can classify it into the subject morphology and syntax. Morphology deals with the word structure and syntax deals with the sentence structure. So these are under the category of internal language components. And third one is the content. Content is converted into context. Context is which context the language can used. That is based upon the which context the language used, they determine for the component. It is deals with the subject is semantics, that is meaning of structure. That means one's language meaning structure is called the semantic state. So before the going to the our subject area, the phonetics, we have the small introduction about the languages, some messages regarding the language for the kind of information for the as a we linguist, we know more information regarding the languages, but you don't know the lot of information regarding the language. So I will briefly the few seconds regarding the language. In the worldwide, there are more than 6 languages was spoken in the world, but it is the half of the language is only speaking in that present situation. In India, there are more than 1,650 languages are speaking in once, but now it will be reduced only for the 700 languages only throughout the India. There are 22 languages are the considered as the scheduled languages. You know the meaning for the scheduled languages? These are only for the languages available for the grammatical and only for the officially they are recognized languages is called the scheduled languages. Only the included the 700 languages, 22 is the scheduled languages. Rest of the languages are only for the spoken purpose. So let us move on to the subject area, phonetics. So that is a very interesting area for the speech pathologists. So the science which studies the characteristics of human sound making, especially those sounds used in speech, and provides methods for their description, classification, and transcription. Actually, the term description means to identifying one of the major aims of the subject. To give a comprehensive, systematic, objective, and precise account of the pattern and use of a specific language. It is a description. Another one is a classification. There is classification of morphemes into the form classes and words into word classes. And then an application of linguistics and phonetics of entities and certain formal or semantic properties. And transcription means a method of writing down speech sounds in a systematic and consistent way, also known as notion of the script. There are two ways of the transcription is possible. One is the phonetic transcription, with the use of the symbol is square bracket we are using at the time of writing the description. And the second one is the phonetic transcription. Phonemic transcription. It is used for the oblique line, what are the represent for the phonemic transcription. So in this phonetics, majorly classified into 3 categories. One is for the articulatory phonetics. That is a general position of all articulators in relation to each other, which one adopts the maintained during the speech. That is called articulatory phonetics. Second one is the acoustic phonetics. A characteristic of speech sound when analyzed in physical terms. And third one is the auditory phonetics. That is the perceptual response to speech sound as mediated by a auditory hair and auditory nerve and brain. So in this auditory and the acoustic phonetics is more important to the speech pathologists at the application of the phonetics phonology for the speech pathologist area. The next one is the general phonetics. Actually, when one speaks the phonetics of English or the phonetics in French, one means normally the descriptive study of the sounds of English or French. This kind of study includes the classification of speech sounds of language and the distinctive features of sound employed in the language, and that the study the several phonemes or sound classes are also analyzed. For example, the English buy and spy, die and tie, girl and curl, and we distinguish the presence and absence of voicing with a distinctive mark through this series ba, pa, da, ta, ga, ga. This voiced and voiceless difference. So the descriptive study means the facts of linguistic sounds usage as they are, and the distinctive features mean linguistic for any features of speech which enable a contrast to be made between the phonological, grammatical, and semantical units. And the sort of comparison can be applied to other languages which have some or all these distinctive contrasts, but the result will not be single unitary system of classification, equally applicable for the distinction. And the phonetic system. A phonetic system should be sufficiently efficacious to describe any sound in isolation within the limits of accuracy and finesse of articulatory or acoustic procedure, and also to describe any sound in isolation or as cut from a continuum of speech. A phonetic science should be able to define and describe its own units by its own data. A sound in the same sound wherever it occurs, but for the phonetician who use essentially variable. That means the language is who used and which context they are used, that is most important. The another word, speech sound. Every speech sound belongs to one or other of the two main classes known as vowel and consonants. So the importance in dealing the course of phonetics. Hello. The important dealing in the course of phonetics study is to learn. Hello. Hello. Any disturbance? So the major segments of the speech, one can improve his speech English only by the knowing how to produce the vowels and consonants properly. The people's mostly using the term good English is nothing but is the there is no any concept for the good English or bad English. And if you pronounce in that clear way, that means you must know for the phonetic knowledge of the particular language. You can speak thoroughly in the not only the English But whatever the language you learn, whether it is a first language or it may be a second language. So, we knowing the technical terms of the phonetics and phonology does not ensure a good pronunciation. So, the very purpose of introducing a few concepts, terms, and ideas is to make the learners to aware of the certain important aspects of speech and study of speech. The another one is the speech sounds as the event. The speech sounds are expressed or pronounced is vary from individuals and the native speakers, uh, native speaker language and non-native speakers. Sometimes the originality of the form is missing at the time of the language in a particular context. So the speech sounds in their usual phenomenal form are recurrent features of meaningful speech form. When a language is learned by a native speaker or any normal speaker. So the meaningful morphemes, phrases, and utterances are primary units, and these features are learned as movements. Two, another one is this: to know how to express the ability to the movements, and this ability enables one to produce sound sequences which form a stimulus response unit in the human communication. So in the daily life situation, the stimulus is practically produced by one and response is elicited another. And it is quite obvious that stimulus and the response in all utterance tend to be conditioned by the relevant sequence of speech sound and also the peculiar conventional alphabet. So the composition of any utterance with several words, the actualization of complex integrated acoustic and neuromotor pattern, and some words are recurrent in other collections with a modification due to the difference of motor context. So we need this even for the speech pathologists, the motor pattern is more important for this for the field. And another one is it would be quite clear from the introspective observation that the protection of the prolonged pause sound referent acquires the simultaneous occurrence of two events. In other words, the protection of the sound has two components. They are deflation of the lungs, which sends the stream of air up to the windpipe and out through the mouth. And the second one is the contact between the lower lip and the front upper the teeth forming an obstacle to the flowing lung air. The lung air obstructed at the point of articulator forces its way through in a turbulent stream that generates the hissing fricative sound. So, in this context of speech, the relevant sequence of sounds are indeed even. And the development of IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. From the very beginning, the learners' English language have been confronted with the necessity of having some set of symbols to represent speech sounds more accurately than does our bustling and intricate spelling. There have been many such sets of symbols, but the first to gain any great prominence was Alexander Melville Bell's the visible speech symbols. By using various combinations of basic symbols, Bell was able to represent any vowel in any language. But his visible speech alphabet was so revolutionary in form and contained so many symbols that only a few people could understand it. So it gradually fell into disuse because it is completeness made it too cumbersome. Among those who adopted Bell's visible speech symbols in a modified form was Henry Sweet, an English phonetician. Even his revised form was too complicated for the average reader. He therefore developed a new set of symbols using the characters of the Roman alphabet and called the broad Romic system. And the International Phonetic Alphabet. Handwritten symbols were introduced in his Handbook of Phonetics, published in 1877. The International Phonetic Association was founded in 1886 and in 1888. It adopted Sweden's broad Romic symbols as the official IP. Sweden's phonetic symbols have been modified slightly from time to time since the inception of IP association and is now in wide use. Leave Mater Phoneticus, the official publication of the International Phonetic Association, was first published in 1886. So all its articles in every issue contains articles in English, French, and German, and several other languages, all printed phonetic symbol, so it remains as the valuable source the information field of phonetics, and also the study is the foreign language. There are certain merits of the IPA. So there are two advantages possible in this IPA chart. It is the official phonetic alphabet of an established body of scholars, and it has to the weight of prestige and scholarship. And it is more widely known than any other system to speech sound representation. It is the Esperanto of phoneticians. That means they are artificial word in the word level. Phonetician, which means that is serves as the best available medium for the exchange of ideas in this professional field. And the need for the special phonetic alphabet. For the study of the special phonetic alphabet, there are only for the 26 calligraphy in English, which are inadequate to represent the 44 English sounds. So that is most important. There are classification is the 26 letters, but there are 44 sounds. By using 26 orthographical symbols will result is confusion. A person who desires to learn English learns quite to his surprise that there is no one-to-one correspondence between English letters and English sounds. It is disheartening to note that no mention has been made of sounds as distinct from the letters of the alphabet. Many people, in spite of being well educated, do not know the anything but the 20 vowels and the 24 consonants in English. Everyone who learners in schools about 5 vowels in English, that is A, E, I, O, U, not realizing that these are not, one has studied English phonetics, he will not know that English has 20 vowel sounds and 24 consonant sounds. Canner and West. Since English, partially phonetic language, the process of constructing a phonetic alphabet is essentially on revising our present written alphabet so that there will be separate characters to represent each sound. To simplify the construction of phonetic alphabet, 15 symbols have already been taken from written alphabet that represent the same sound value customarily given them in English. 4 vowels and 1 glide sound are represented by regular printers. Hello? Is it audible? Represented by the regular printed letters in the alphabet E, A, O, O, and Ja. which have been assigned arbitrarily yet logical values. Two more symbols, A and U, are derived from small forms of capital letters. The theory phoneme is to be regarded as a practical concept designed to explain the variation of speech sounds that forms the basic units of language. Classification of speech sound is sometimes confusing to beginners because all three approaches, that is acoustic, placement and movement approach, is absurd manner and resulting mixture of terminology is bewildering. So the first step of acquiring a good pronunciation is to know that every sound must have a separate symbol to represent itself. Wait a minute, there are some technical problems. Wait a minute, we will come soon to contact you. There are some technical problems. Any one of the participants mute and give the answer. Is it audible for myself?
Yes, sir. Audible.
It's quite audible, sir.
Yeah,
But
carry on.
it's audible only.
Okay, okay. Okay, mute it. Thank you. So the first step acquire a good pronunciation is to know that every sound must have a separate symbol to represent itself. This is what phonetics does. It provides a symbol to each sound. So this is said to be as one-to-one correspondence between the sounds and symbols. To know the symbols of the different sounds, that is vowels and consonants, is one thing, but to be able to produce the right kind of sounds is another to important thing. So, say in other words, a knowledge of phonetics should not end with knowing the symbols only. One should be able to pronounce the correct sound corresponding to the symbols. And one should also be able to write down the word in phonetic symbols when one hears the word pronounced. If a student knows the sounds and symbols of the extent, then he can easily use the modern dictionary, which gives the pronunciation of each word in the phonetic symbols. I want to give examples for the phonetic, not only the phonetic dictionary, but also the dailies like the Hindu and other English dailies. One of the dailies can use for the phonetic symbols, the accurate pronunciation. You must know for this kind of phonetic word writing is available in the most of the dailies are available in this market. So they gives the pronunciation of each word in the phonetic symbols. We do not have the good English speakers from whom we can learn good English with the correct pronunciation. So the another one is the vowels, the first section. In RP, that is the received pronunciation, there are 20 distinctive vowel sounds. Okay, they're made up of 12 pure vowels. Okay, out of the 20, made up of 12 is pure vowels or monophthongs, and 8 diphthongs or complex vowels. These vowel sounds with their phonetic symbols have been illustrated with sets of words in which the respective vowel sound occurs initially, medially, and finally. The letter or letters that represent the respective vowel or diphthong sound have been underlined. The first one is the pure vowels. The symbol is, first one is the E. It is a long vowel. The present word, initial example for the initial it, and the medial is meat, and the final is C. The second one is the E. The short vowel ink, the medial milk, and the final monkey. And the third sound is A. Initial Arab, middle had, and another sound is A. Apple in the initial position, map in medial position. The another sound R. Ask in initial position, path in medial position. The another sound is O. Office in initial position, coffee in the middle position. Woo and woos. Woo. That is only available in the middle position. Up and blood. A. That is an in initial, girl in middle position, girl in final position. A. Initial ago, middle purpose, final feather. And the diphthong vowels. The another category is diphthong. A symbol that is the A. That is the symbol. Initial position I is the example, and medieval weight, and final is pay. The second symbol I. The initial position I and IL, medial Y, final my. The symbol oil. Initially is oil, the middle spoil, final Y. The symbol A. Initial air, medial that, final hair. The symbol A. Initial airplane, and the medial pan, final is hair. The symbol UI. Only the middle position quail, and the final poor. And the UI, initial position okay, and the middle position coat, final so. Another symbol out, initial position out, the middle position is cow, the final is now. So these are the vowels classification for the original pronunciation for the sounds. The another one is the vowel length in English. Among the pure vowels, 5 are long and the remaining 7 are short. Apart from these, each vowel has different degrees of length depending upon the phonetic environment in which it occurs. The vowels are longer when they occur in the final position of a word, and also when they are followed by voiced consonants. When they are followed by voiceless consonants, they are slightly shorter. For example, me, the voiceless is me, voice is me, ni, ni, me. The shortening of vowels before voiceless consonants is more common in the case of long vowels than in the case of short vowels. Consonants. In the RP, there are 24 distinctive consonant sounds. Okay. These sounds with their phonetic symbols have been illustrated with sets of words in which their respective consonant sound occurs initially, medially, and finally. The letter or letters that represent the respective consonant sound have been underlined. The first column is the position of the symbols, and second one is the phonetic symbol, and the second column is initial position and medial position and final position. Okay. I described the 24 sounds. First one is the pa. That is voiceless. The initial example is pan, supper. The final is cup. Another one is a bar. The voice, ball, ribbon, and nib. And symbol ta. 10, mutton, mat. The another voice da. The initial dog, southern, mud. And another sound ka. Kite, ticket, stick. The another symbol was ga. Gun, bakar, back. Another is cha. Chin, teacher, batch. Another sound is ja. Jack, suggest, bridge. Another one is ma. Man, woman, name. Another one is the na. Nib, banner, sun. The another nasal sound is na. Singer, and the final version is king. Only the two words are only given. The another one is fricative like fa. Fan in initial, suffer from the medial, graph from the final position. The another frigate is wa. Van, heaven, have. Another one is ta. Thin, mass, man. Another one is there. Then, feather, cloth. Another is sa. Sun, lesson, class. Another fricative su. Zoo in initial, frozen and medial, oozy and final. Another ha in initial sheep, position, fish, the final position. The another sound is sha, that is pleasure and courage. Another frigate is ha, ham, mouth. Another one is the lateral law. Initial is line, level, and ball. And the flap sound, ra, ran, parrot. The another two is left in your slide, but I will pronounce the sound. There are wa, that is two position the initial water, and twin. The last sound is ya, that is yes in initial, and the middle is mayor. These are the example for the 24th consonant. Okay. And then another one is the consonant clusters. So the consonant cluster is sequence of two or more consonants occurring at the beginning or end of a syllable. For instance, the sequence ta and ra in the word true is a consonant cluster because these two consonants form the sequence and belong to the same syllable. Similarly, the three consonants sa, ta, and ra in the word street form a consonant cluster because all the three consonants belong to the same syllable. Yet the consonant ba and ka in the word blanket do not form a cluster because in our speech the first consonant ba arrests in the first syllable and the second consonant ka releases the second syllable. Similarly, the three consonants ma, sa, and ta in the word circumstance do not form a cluster of three consonants because the consonant ma arrests the second syllable came and the consonant sa and ta form a cluster of two consonants and releases the third syllable then. So it is not correct to say that the word circumstance has a consonant cluster made up of three consonants in the middle of it. The three-term label consonant description. Okay, we can describe and identify the consonant by using three-term label indicating. Three-term label is nothing but that is the first of all the sound, the symbols position, that is voiceless or voiced, and the position of the sound, that is a bilabial, and whether it is the plosive or non-plosive. This kind of classification is called the three-term label. So we can describe the identification of the consonants by using the three-term label, whether the sound is voiced or voiceless, and the place of articulation and the manner of the articulation. That is called the three-term label. For instance, pa in pen can be described as voiceless, bilabial, stop, or plosive. Similarly, va in van can be described as a voiced labio-tendal fricative. The three-term labels. The first sound is a voiceless, pa is the sound, voiceless, bilabial, plosive. In this manner, you can describe the sound. Second one is voiced ba, that is voiced bilabial, plosive. Another one is ta, that is voiceless, alveolar, plosive. Another one is da, voiced, alveolar, plosive. So in this manner, you can check it all the sounds for the in this slide. So use of the phonetic symbol. So The speech symbol is especially speech and language pathologists must know using the phonetic alphabet for the use of the any language you can write through the phonetic script. That's why we need for the phonetic symbol knowledge of the each and every person. Frequently raise the question whether is a question whether or not it is necessary to teach phonetic symbols. It is quite feasible to use the phonetic approach to speech training without making use the phonetic alphabet. Yeah, I already mentioned about without the phonetic alphabet, you can't write the any one of the unknown language, especially not only the unknown language, whether the first language also you must observe the speech or conversation of the any one of the person. You can writing for the with the use of phonetic alphabet, you can easily to transcribe in the letter the what is the actual sound the person produced. That's why we must learn the phonetic symbol necessarily. However, the speech training inclusive of phonetic training as their therapeutic technique, correction of defective articulation, ear training, etc., can well facilitated if the phonetic symbols are taught and used. Whenever it is possible for trainer or speech pathologist in 2 or 3 consecutive classes to cooperate in the use of phonetic symbols, they can successfully teach them in the post-metric level. If the symbols are to be used only for a short period and then discarded, the entire benefit gained by their use may not compensate the time spent and the effort put to the teaching. Another one is the sounds and letters in English. If the imperative on the part of the student on phonetics to study the relation between the sounds and the letters and sounds in English. It is really an interesting area of every sound in English, with an exception of few is represented by the different individual letter or combination of letters. With the purpose of sustaining the point given below are the examples for the given to that sound. For the pure vowel sounds, E given for the exam E. First one is the pure vowel, E, the long vowel E. Example given to the which letter represent the second column, and the third one is a word in each sound. The examples are given. You can check it for the slide in the latter. I will go on to the next slide. So these are another one is the not in the heading is present. This slide is actually diphthong sounds. The first one is the pure vowels. The second one is the diphthongs. You see the difference between the pure vowel sounds and the diphthongs. That the difference you must carefully given the example the first sound I, a, I, e, ow, oo. These are the sounds, the combination of vowels are available in the diphthong sounds. And another slide also represent for the different sounds, the like the consonants. Okay, the sounds and what are the letters present in these sounds and the word in which their sounds occur. The all are present in their table in the slide. So this is also the consonant vowels, and there is what are the letters present in the sounds, particular sound, and what are the words present in the sound. Okay, these are the classification. You must only they observe the what are the examples given in this slide, and later will be any queries. You can clarify the later all the series of the lectures. We will explain for the all these queries. So let us move on to the another category of the phonology. You see, this slide is the order of the linguistic features. Okay, one who learn the linguistic subject, first of all, you must learn the subject is the phonetics is more important to the any one of the person except the non-linguistic people must know for the knowledge for the phonetics. And second one is the phonology. That is the most important. Why? Because the famous quotation is pointed out the phonetician K.L. by phonetics is raw material, but phonemics is cooked seed. So you know the meaning for the quote. Without the raw material, you can't cook. So that's why you must know for the phonetic knowledge for the linguistic, then you can learn for the another area of the morphology, syntax, semantics, pragmatics. So that's why the our course is designed in this manner. The first class you can learn for the phonetics and phonology. Actually, this is not the sufficient. That means not in the stipulated time for the within the 1.5 hours. We can't explain the two areas. Okay, but I will try to convey the message how much you gain from the knowledge about the phonetics and the phonology. So in this order, who learn the linguistics, in this order is learn easily and understand the linguistics subject. So the subject phonology is the very important for the each and every the language trainer and also the, especially the speech language pathology must know their phonetic symbols and their speech sounds also because you must carefully to identify the affected children. That means those who are affected from the any one of the speech disorders. You must carefully to understand what the actual sound that produced. It will be bubbled and there the cracky voice, whatever the sounds the children can merge. You carefully to write the symbol, write the sounds through the phonetic symbol. Then only you can to give some remedial measures through the therapy. So now we will discuss about the topic of the phonology. It is a branch of linguistics which studies the sound system of language. The sounds are organized into a system of contrast which are analyzed in terms of phonemes, distinctive features, or other such phonological units according to the theory. Use. And aim of the phonology. Hello, there are some disturbance are going on. You please mute your. Please mute your. The aim of the phonology study is to demonstrate the patterns of distinctive sound found in a language and to make it as general as possible about the nature of sound. If a person have the expert in the field of science, is called a scientist. But in the field of linguistics, is not for the linguist, but he is a practitioner of the linguistics, otherwise the student of the linguistics, because we are the up to date, we are learning the in the social environment. So that's why the student of phonology is known as the phonologist. And the way of learning to the phonology, there are two ways you can learn the phonology. At the level of linguistic organization, contrasted with the levels of phonetics, grammar, and semantics in the first instance. As a component of generative grammar, contrasted with the syntactic and semantic is the another component. And within phonology, two branches of study are equally recognized. One is segmental, another one is the suprasegmental. Segmental phonology analyzes speech into discrete segments such as phonemes. Suprasegmental phonology analyzes those features which extended over more than one segment, such as intonation contours. Another distinction is made between synchronic and diachronic phonology, the former studying patterns of sounding in the history of language, the latter studying sound patterns regardless of the process of historical change. And what is meant by the phoneme? The term was first used in 1870s by Kuski. Saussure has also worked on phonemes. Yet, most significant work on phonemes was done by Saussure in 1927. Phoneticians such as Bloomfield, Daniel Jones, Nathal Bank shall have all dealt with the phoneme. Catford defines phonemes as the minimal sequential contrast units of the phonology of language. Jones reports that they are elements which make larger semantic entities, namely morphemes, words, and sentences. Phonemes never change from time to time, but they remain stationary over long period. Other one is the allophones. The English voiceless group is noticeable aspired when they occur initially before stressed vowels in the syllable final position. The voiceless stops are unreleased and may be audibly released or inaudibly released. These are all the variants of phoneme. They are positional or contextual or conditional alternates of phonemes, specially termed allophones. In other words, the ranges of sounds in free variation are allophones. Allophones are abstractions, or the phonemes are the allophones are concretely realized in speech particular sound. There is a common practice of transcribing the allophones within the square bracket as pa, tha, ka. Once again, the allophone pa, tha, and ka, as if they were purely phonetic entities rather than phonological categories, since they are abstractions from contextual systematic realizations of variants of phonemes. They are part of the phonology of language, and they should be enclosed with slant lines. However, with the purpose of differentiating the allophones from phonemes, we will transcribe the allophones with the square bracket. I will give the example for the another slide. The allophones, the voiceless plosives, pa, ta, ka, are heavily aspirated when they occur initially in a stressed syllable. For example, pa, public, apply, post, and ta, ten, canteen, contain, and the phoneme ka, in, record. The another examples are simple sounds. A single sound produced in a single articulation of the speech mechanism is called a simple sound. The pure vowels and the consonants such as pa, ta, ka, ma, la, sa, and za are simple sounds. As a rule, the simple sounds are represented in the written form by a single phonetic symbol. However, they are sometimes represented by digraphs, that is, sequence of two symbols. For instance, the affricates ta and da are the example for simple sound. Another one is the gliding sound. Speech sounds that are produced by gradual movements of the lips, tongue, etc. are called gliding sounds. The semi-vowels wa and ja and all the diphthongs are gliding sounds. Assimilation. The speech is a continuum and not stringing together to discrete units. A sound in a continuum may be affected by the sound that precedes or succeeds it. This kind of influence of sounds to one another is termed assimilation. This adaptive change is almost the result of neuromotor adjustment to promote facility of movement and economy of efforts. This phenomena of neuromotor adjustments within a configuration are too drastic to be linguistically acceptable. These are the pronunciation for the word in the old presentation, that is the old pronunciation, and also a present pronunciation. With, with, and which. With, breath, but, mist, mist, and midst. These are the some examples for the assimilation. The another one is the syllable. A syllable is a single minimal unit of utterance or a chest pulse produced by the pulmonic airstream mechanism, and nothing less than a syllable can be pronounced in a language. Syllable in most cases is an audible movement. Yet, it is possible for chest pulse to take place quite in silently producing. And there are certain examples are given, the structure of the syllable, and some samples are given, and how to transcribe for the particular sound. That is the structure. For example, the structure of the syllable, first one is the vowel, and the sample of word is I. The phonetic transcription, what are the symbols are present, you know. The second example is C. The structure of syllable is consonant and vowel. And the phonetic transcription, you know, the word 3C, saw, and the row give the example for the phonetic transcription. Sorry, phonemic transcription. The third one is the consonant and vowel syllable structure. That means the two consonant and one vowel syllable structure. Examples are given, the sample words, and how the phonetic symbol, phonetic transcription, sorry, phonemic transcription is present. The another one is onset, nucleus, and coda. We have already studied in the earlier, in the previous, if you know about the phonology, we already know about the term like onset, nucleus, and the coda. In the syllable, English has the three components: releasing of consonant, the nucleus, and an arresting for the consonant. For example, the word Lord can be analyzed into the three parts of syllable. Here they are realizing the consonant La is the onset. Okay, the vowel O is the nucleus, and the arresting consonant Da is the coda. So the onset, nucleus, and coda are three components of a syllable. So Balasun suggests that it is better that as students of phonetics and phonology, we are aware of the existence of two different sets of terminology. The Balasubramanian refers as a students, now, but we assumed we are the students, we must know for the onset, nucleus, and coda. So that is the first set of being the realizing the consonant, vowel, and arresting consonant. The second set is the onset, nucleus, and coda. The another one is suprasegmental features. The suprasegmental features of speech include stress, pitch, intonation, strong form, weak form of words, and juncture. Word stress, you can't assume that the psychological stress. It is somewhat different from the phonological stress. Our accent is a significant feature of English, and it is defined as the degree of prominence that a syllable in a word has. In the case of disyllabic, trisyllabic, or polysyllabic words, one particular syllable stands out more prominent than the other syllables in the word. Such prominent syllable in a word is said to receive the stress, that is, greater breath force. The syllable in a word that receives the stress is strong syllable or accent syllable. The syllable in a word that is pronounced without prominence is called weak syllable or unaccented syllable. We here given for the some example for the word stress. First one is father, donkey, manage, wisdom, reason, something, driver, foolish, mutton, and empty. Another one is the stress, sentence stress. In connected speech, we don't speak using one word at a time, but we construct a sentence by stringing together 4, 5, or 6 words. While speaking or reading, the sentence We don't give stress on all the words. In a polysyllabic word set in isolation, only one syllable stands out more prominent than the others in the same word. Similarly, in connected speech made up 4, 5 or 6 words, only certain words stand out from the remaining words. Another one is the intonation. The term intonation can be defined as the significant variation in the pitch of the voice in connected speech. Intonation is quite different feature from stress. Yet there are important relations between stress and intonation in English and also in all stress-based languages. The meaning of an utterance in English derives not only from the changing sound pattern or the accentual prominence already discussed, but also from the relevant patterns of intonation. We are given certain examples for the intonation. The first one is the falling tone in generally used in he has gone to Delhi. Okay, the example for that intonation, he has gone to Delhi. Second one is the principal will come now. The principal will come now. And then WH questions. When will he return? When will he return? Where is she going? These are some examples for the intonation. The phonetic transcription. The phonetic transcription is used in various ways when the phonetic symbol is used in isolation simply to identify the phonological segment is the label use the symbol. Jones describes a transcription based on the principle one symbol per phoneme is called phonemic or linguistically broad transcription. A transcription which provides special signs or allophones is called allophonic or linguistically narrow transcription. Henry Sweet points out in his Handbook of Phonetics the system which is called broad rhomic and narrow rhomic. There are certain examples for the transcription. First one is the word fat, tap, tat, tat. The phonetic transcription. Fat, tap, tat, and take. These are some examples for the phonetic transcription. So if you need for the certain comparison is essential for the any one of the trainer. What is the comparison is the subject is phonetics and the phonology. Phonology is the basis for the further work of morphology, syntax, discourse, and orthography design. So that's why we first discuss about the phonetics and phonology. Phonetics is the basis for the phonological analysis. Okay, so analyze the sound patterns for the particular language and the determining which the phonetic sounds are significant and explain how these sounds are interpreted by the native speaker. But the phonetics is analyze the production of all human speech sounds regards of the language. So these are some comparativity for the phonology and phonetics. So in that much I have stopped for the lecture for the areas for the phonetics and phonology. And another part is the application of the phonetics and phonology. But we have the already the time was gone for the 1.5 hours. I simply what are the methods you will applied for the phonetics phonology methods applied for the speech language pathology are used. Only I will brief introduction only I will give. The whole the content and the material will be sent through the mail after the lecture. Okay, so actually I have planned to discuss about the clinical application for the phonetics and the phonology in this session. There are 4 types of phonological discussion is going on. What is knowledge, the acoustic and the perceptual characteristics of speech sound. I earlier mentioned about the knowledge of the phonetics, especially the perceptual characteristics. Perceptual means under the category of acoustic, auditory phonetics is more essential for this practitioner because how much the person received the sound, that much you can give the that means the solution for the particular disorder or the speech therapy is only for the possibility. The second one is the speech sound, that is the perceptual knowledge. Another is the knowledge of the articulatory characteristics of speech sound. Some person have the organs, the clipped palate and other disorder is possible. You can't understand for the what is the original pronunciation of the particular word or a particular utterance or a particular phoneme. You can't understand. So you must knowledge about the articulatory phonetics. You can handle for this kind of disorder people. So you can apply it for the articulatory of speech sounds. That is the articulatory knowledge. And the higher level knowledge of the ways that the words can be divided into the sounds, and the sounds can be combined and meaningful sequence in orders, sorry, in words. That is a higher level phonological knowledge, and the knowledge of the ways that the variation in pronunciation can be used to convey the social identity. That means a social indexical knowledge is must for the each and every speech pathologist and any one of the trainer, those who are willing to train the disorder peoples or the affected children. You must to applied for the clinical application for the phonetics and the phonology method is more essential for than the further reading. So I will send to you there are in this application is it is a huge file. Okay, it is a huge file that we will send to your prescribed mail. Okay, this lecture will be over. Your feedback and suggestion, queries, whatever you think about the lecture, today's lecture, and what are the suggestion you prescribe, all are welcomed through the chart. Okay, so once again, I thank the organizers and the authority of the Annamalai University and the director CS Linguistics and those who are the supported in the non-moral supported, especially the who are to eagerly to involved. That is the app will be installed by the presentation. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
சொல்லுங்க மேடம். கேக்குதுங்களா?
கேக்குது. Dear participants, thank you for your presence and hearing the lecture. Tomorrow, our Professor Saranya will be continuing the session on morphology, and the next day will be by her for syntax. So, we would like to have you all tomorrow by 3:45, the same time in the classroom. Thank you.
Hello.
சார் சொல்லுங்க. இல்ல
There's an-
அவங்க லீவ் ஆகட்டும்.
the word file will be displayed for the purpose of just seeing the participants.
ஹலோ மேம்.
யா
நாளைக்கு இதே லிங்க்ல வந்து கனெக்ட் பண்ணலாமா மேம், இல்ல நீங்க வந்து வேற லிங்க்
அதே லிங்க் தான். அதே லிங்க் தான்.
ஓகே தேங்க் யூ மேம். ஓகே மேம்.
Sir, a very wonderful session, sir. Very informative and effective.
Okay.
Could you please suggest any book for the practice of phonetics for the students, sir? A standard book.
Yeah, standard books. There are a number of books are there, but I will refer only for the Catford and the John Lyons and some other persons. Okay. And the Indian authors, only few authors only they are present, but I will send it a huge list for you.
Okay, please send, sir. So we at least share in the groups. Thank you so much, sir. A very wonderful session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Vishwa, முடிச்சலாமா?
Yeah, please, participants, you can leave the session. Thank you for your presence.
முடிச்சலாமா விஷ்வா? முடிச்சிடலாம். நான் லெக்சர் முடிச்சிட்டேன். பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா? ஓகேம்மா. தேங்க்யூ விஷ்வா. லலிதா மேடம்.
சொல்லுங்க சார்.
வேற யாராவது லைன்ல இருக்காங்களா? அதான் இந்த வேர்ட் ஃபைல் டைம் இல்ல. இந்த அப்ளிகேஷன் ஆஃப்
இருக்காங்க. பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ் ஒரு 30 பேர்ல இருக்காங்க.
இருக்காங்களா?
ஆமா. விஷ்வா
விஷ்வாட்ட சொல்லியிருக்கேன். விஸ்வாட்ட இன்டிமேட் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். வேணா நம்ம இந்த ஃபைல் ஒரு 14 பேஜஸ் வேணா நம்ம அப்லோட் பண்ணிடலாம்னு சொல்லிட்டு அப்புறமா.
ஓகே.
நீங்க உங்க சப்போஸ் கன்சல்ட் பண்ணாங்கன்னா அந்த 14 பேஜ் இருக்கு. நம்ம அப்ளிகேஷன்ஸ் ஆஃப்
பிபிடி கேட்டுட்டு இருக்காங்க சார்.
என்னங்க
பிபிடி
கேட்டிருக்காங்களா?
கேட்டிருக்காங்க.
சரி. நம்ம அதை அப்புறம் ஃபைனலா டிசைட் பண்ணி ஒண்ணானது.
ஓகே.
ஹலோ
ஒரு நிமிஷம் இருங்க.
மேடம்,
you can just leave. I request the participants to please leave the session. Dear participants, it's a kind request. Okay, it's a request to kindly leave the sessions. You can send your feedback to my mail ID itself. The mail ID has been the mail ID is forwarded. The link is there for you to send the feedback. So please, you can send the feedback to that. Yes, yes, PPT will be shared to you. We have requested the resource person. He will be sharing the PPT with us, and we will be sharing that thing. Please send your feedbacks to the mail ID which has sent you the link. Vishwa?
சார் குமரேசன் சார்
சொல்லுங்க.
தேங்க்யூ நீங்க மியூட் பண்ணிட்டு அங்க பேசுங்க. ஒண்ணு இல்ல, எல்லாம் முடிஞ்சிருச்சு.
மியூட் பண்ணிடுங்க சார். இல்ல இல்ல
நீங்க வரட்டும் மீட் பண்ணாம இருந்தேன்.
இல்ல இல்ல
சார் தேங்க்யூ
நீங்க
வெரி
போன்ல
மச்.
வாங்க, வெளியே வந்துருங்க, மீட்டை விட்டு வெளியே வந்துருங்க.
நான் வந்துடுறேன். நான்